people pleaser, maybe even a little bit of a perfectionist. Heck, maybe both. If that's you, you're in the right episode. My name is Leslie Urbis. I'm a registered dietitian and a personal trainer. And as you all know, I call myself a selfless overachiever in recovery, fully, wholly embracing herself and teaching others to do the same. And I would say that both of those, people pleaser and perfectionist, definitely describe me to a T as I was growing up and, as I like to say, strapping oxygen masks to everyone else but myself. And today's guest is going to talk to us about that and how she really stepped into the true passion of what she does. And I already love it. So welcome to the show, Caroline. How are you?
Hi, Leslie. I'm well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Of course, yes. I would love to hear your story about how, we jumped on here. I was like, describe what really pushed you into what you call burnout. And those were the top two things you said. So I'd love if you could chat about that and really help a guest who might be in that situation to understand what she or he might be going through.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I've had a whole lifetime spent being a people pleaser. I think from my childhood, which was a childhood spent walking on eggshells and always worrying about doing things wrong. So, I think that definitely led to me just basically, like you say, you're strapping an oxygen mask on everyone else, trying to please everyone, stay under the radar, not cause waves, and just make sure that everything was perfect and right in order to keep myself safe. And that's a trait that I've carried through from my childhood, through my adult life, and into my work and my career.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so eventually, I just think where I spent so long trying to just, I say, please everyone, make everything perfect, keep everything right, especially within my job role, I just think that pushed me to the edge of burnout. Especially as a wife and a mother, I think you are all things to all people. So you spend so much time trying to please everybody else and make sure they're okay that you end up neglecting yourself and your own needs.
Yeah, it's quite funny. I mean, I totally understand. So the first thing that always comes to mind when people talk about this topic is that do you have to empty the trash cans in the bathroom out before you have guests over? That lets you know if like you're a perfectionist. And that was totally me for the longest time. Now I almost prefer to have something in there because when I'm at other people's houses, I prefer to have trash in there. But I live in Spain where sometimes you can't throw the toilet paper in the toilet. So you have to throw it in the trash can. So for those of you that don't know, that's a thing here in Spain, where you have to throw the or the toilet paper and everything into a trash can. So just really interesting to me. But the other thing that really stood out to me is that it sounds very much like somebody called it internal emotional labor, I think is the term. I could be wrong about that, but it's like a woman is holding on to every little detail of the house. Like, when does the laundry filter need to be changed? When does the washing machine need to be washed? When does this, right? And so the woman starts to add all of these things up, but it's in everything. It's in her job. It's with her kids. It's with her, with the dogs. It's like, okay, got to remember when the dog needs to be taken to the vet and got to remember this, right? And it just tacks on to a point that we're just emotionally overloaded on the inside, but we're unsure to how to put it on the outside because so many of our mothers did the same and never really showed it on the outside. But we fall into this enigma where, yes, our mothers might have done that, but they probably didn't work full-time jobs. And if they did, it was definitely not trying to scale to the top, right? Definitely
Yeah.
not trying to be the top of a company, et cetera. That didn't really come until, a few years later than that. So I completely understand. What do you think was the biggest like aha moment that you realized that you were struggling with this?
Well, I think, like you say, it's just the pressure of everything, and then you're trying to basically push it all down and keep a lid on it in a box. It's kind of like whack-a-mole, isn't it? You're like trying to keep it all down and keep everyone happy and keep it all in place and keep it all together. And I ended up in a management role in my previous job, which was not really suited to me being a people pleaser. It just wasn't a role that really sat comfortably with me. So I was trying to do the same thing in my job role, trying to keep everyone happy, never wanting to upset anyone or thinking that anyone was mad at me. So I just think all that crescendo of years and years of trying to do everything right and perfect just came to a crunch point. One morning I was just sobbing in the shower, and I just thought, there's got to be more to life than this, than feeling like this. I was just so disconnected from myself and what I needed that, I think that was my crunch point there.
Yeah, I get it. I completely understand. I remember when I had just a moment where I just kind of, I was like, wow, I have put way too much pressure on myself. I cannot believe I reacted this way. And it was just, okay, I'm going to move onward in a different direction. And I started to do nervous system work, et cetera. So how did all this kind of lead you down the road to what you do now, to the passion that you do now?
Well, I started seeing a counsellor when I realised, I just really needed help. I think the thing that most stood out for me, my counsellor said to me, what are your core values? And I was just so disconnected from myself that I couldn't even answer that question. I had no idea who I was anymore. So I worked with a counsellor for over a year to sort of get me to the point where I could actually start to discover me again. And so one of my passions has always been art. And it's one of those things you put on the back burner, isn't it, when you're doing all the million and one other things that you want to do. And it's just something that's always brought me joy. It's my mindful, happy place. And I was just like, what if I could actually do something with this and do something that brings me joy rather than something that just brings me stress?
I love it. Love it. My daughter wants to be an artist when she grows up. She sold her first painting over the weekend
That's
to her
amazing.
grandpa.
She should go for it.
Yeah,
100% go for it.
agreed. I tell her that all the time. Anyways, I love that. So tell us a little bit more about what you do in general now.
Okay, so I ended up quitting my job, nothing to go to. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I mean, I've got a wonderfully supportive husband and family. I was really blessed with that. So I ended up leaving my job. I did take a part-time one just in a local supermarket just to calm my anxiety levels over the whole loss of income. And then I just started putting my art out there. It's taken, it was a couple of years ago, so I've started building it up. And another one of my passions is sustainability. So I've combined the two, and I paint on objects that you would usually discard or would decay. So I paint on things like used tea bags, crisp packets, preserved leaves, really anything that you would consider trash. I just think there's something really magical about taking something you'd usually discard and turning it into something beautiful.
I love it. That sounds absolutely fabulous. Especially in the way that you've kind of figured it out. So where can they find you and the work that you do?
So I'm online. I've got a website. I'm on all the social media, sort of Facebook and Instagram. I've been in the media quite a bit recently as well with some of my tea bag paintings. I've been painting British landmarks on British tea bags because we British do love a cup of tea. So
Yes, you
they've been,
do.
they've been really popular. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was on the BBC on Sunday Morning Live chatting about my
Oh,
sustainable art. So you'll probably find me on the internet if you Google my name.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we will put the links below to connect with her for sure. Any final like words of wisdom or parting information you'd like to leave with anybody?
I would just say that to be authentically yourself, follow your heart and your passion, and do what brings you joy, and it will honestly open up so many opportunities to you. I just really believe in authentically following your heart and the people you surround yourself with as well. I think it's really important to surround yourself with the right people who are going to build you up and help you on your path.
I love it. That's it. That's the truth. Be your authentic self. Find your
Yeah,
joy. I love
yeah.
it. Awesome. Well, all of those links will be posted below. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, like, share, and subscribe here, and we will see you on the next one. Bye for now.